The Gothic-class cruiser was designed in the same initiative that gave birth to the Lunar-class cruiser at the end of the Horus Heresy. With the essential development of new ship hulls to serve in the place of older, less trusted designs, the need for a heavy weapons platform capable of maintaining fleet formation was essential for the future of the young Imperial Navy. What would be produced would be so successful and so popular that only the Lunar class would outnumber it across the galaxy. Gothic is a marvel of advanced Imperial technology, designed to bring the heaviest weapons to the forefront of naval engagements on a durable and mobile platform. The best way to describe the Gothic is that of a heavy fire support or even artillery ship, sporting the largest number of lances that can be found on a standard Imperial cruiser hull. The enormous lance batteries are highly accurate and enormously deadly to anything that comes within their admittedly short range. This concentration of highly accurate firepower on a single vessel made the Gothic one of the most desired and commonplace cruisers in every Imperial sector. The 4 lance per broadside vessel is graced with 6 torpedo tubes in its heavily armored prow, permitting it a significant frontal assault role, along with the adequate protection as it closes in upon enemy fleet formation. Much like the Lunar, its role in formation is that of a giant wedge to disrupt enemy formations while striking enemy vessels with its highly accurate and deadly lance broadside. Many an overconfident commander has presumed the Gothic is overall superior to its sister ship, assuming its superior lance weaponry will win the day over the less reliable macro-cannon weaponry of the Lunar. They make this assumption at their own peril, however, as the great killer of any would-be commander of a Gothic cruiser is overconfidence in its ability to defeat its foes on its own. This error is due to an acute misunderstanding of the actual technical role of the Gothic cruiser, which seems to be lost for many. The Gothic cruiser was never meant to replace the Lunar, or even the Dominator cruiser, but to function as fire support for those very same vessels. Without the benefit of weapons batteries, the valuable and highly accurate lances would be wasted on enemy shields instead of carving up the hull of their targets. This rank overconfidence has resulted in the damage or destruction of many Gothic cruisers, finding themselves in situations they were never meant to be involved in. Woe betide any Gothic cruiser that thinks their weapons are effective against the Eldar, who regularly ignore Gothic cruisers for being effectively useless against their holofield-equipped vessels, striking at more valuable prey elsewhere. The other consequence of this armament is that experienced opponents of the Imperial Navy know well the firepower of the Gothic and will target them specifically to remove them as a tactical threat. The Gothic cruiser is the same size and length as the Lunar, topping out at 5 kilometers long and almost a kilometer tall, sporting a crew complement of between 50 and 75,000 crew. This vessel requires fewer ratings as there is no need for ammunition gangs to reload the weapons of the vessel. Unlike the Lunar, the complex energy systems of the Gothic make it too difficult to modify or upgrade without the direct hand of the Adeptus Mechanicus, though their touch upon the vessel is a frightening one. It is actually important to bring up this specific touch of the Adeptus Mechanicus upon the Gothic cruiser, as its power and flexibility is one of the greatest secrets of shipbuilding talent that the Cult Mechanicus has. Despite the desires of many a Segmentum commander, no battlecruiser has ever been made of the Gothic platform, with the Adeptus Mechanicus insisting that such a thing would be impossible simply due to the power and technological constraints of such a vessel. Indeed, to improve the lance broadside, one must increase the hull and reactor size to a battleship scale at least. And yet, the Adeptus Mechanicus have their own version of the Gothic, capable of mounting a Nova Cannon and a critical dorsal lance at 60 centimeters of range within the boundaries of the game, which, in the actual lore, is about a distance between the Earth to the Moon, making the broadside of the vessel the most punishing of any standard cruiser. If one were to be more conspiratorial, one would imagine that the Cult Mechanicus keeps this secret to themselves, making sure that they have an edge over their Imperial Navy counterparts should they ever need it. Like the Lunar, the Gothic regularly finds itself in the thick of battle, and crippled and damaged vessels are commonly converted to other hulls and patterns of vessel, usually being converted into the simpler Lunar-class hull when needed, if supplies do not permit the repair of the complex land system. Tactically, the Gothic is best found in squadrons alongside the Lunar, Dominator, or other fellow Gothic cruisers, allowing its companion vessels to batter down enemy shield systems so their powerful broadsides can carve enemy ships to pieces in a single powerful broadside. Unfortunately, this position is the only truly effective tactical use for the Gothic, as it lacks the flexibility and modularity of the Lunar design. Attempts to use this as an advanced flanking vessel supported by escort craft such as firestorms or swords have proven to be very effective in the hands of an experienced commander, but the Gothic is not well known for its speed and requires good timing for it to be used properly. More outlandish commanders use them as agents of mayhem in a battle, having them move alone through other formations and attacking enemy vessels and opportunistic broadsides, serving as close-range fire support. This does tend to isolate the Gothic and let it fall prey to enemy attacks or flanking maneuvers. To no one's surprise, Gothic cruisers are all but useless against the Eldar, whose holofield and fast movement make their great weapons virtually useless against their ships. They are so impotent against them that some particularly overconfident Eldar pirates simply ignore them, treating them as little more than a stellar phenomena to be navigated around. Legendary Gothics are not hard to find. Like the Lunar, there are too many heroic vessels to count due to their common nature. This does not diminish their contribution to the defense of humanity, but amplify it. Though, as the Gothic cruiser can either be a footnote or a hero in a fleet formation, depending on its commander. Some even fall into the hands of renegades, traitors, and orcs due to their great numbers and regular combat duty. The Drachenfels, for example, under the command of Erwin Ramus, had an extraordinary kill tally and brought great honor to Battlefleet Gothic. So renowned was her captain that he was encased in a dreadnought-like life support system directly linked to his beloved ship systems, possibly making him the largest and most dangerous dreadnought ever created. During the Gothic War, the Righteous Fury was nearly destroyed twice by the repulsive Grand Cruiser Bloodied Sword. Its commander, learning from these engagements, finally refined the tactics that would make the Gothic cruiser a success within fleet formations and a popular pick of the Admiralty. The Pallas Imperius was a Gothic cruiser assigned to Battlefleet Armageddon before it was destroyed and salvaged by orcs, being reborn as the twisted and horrible Slamblasta battleship, which torments the Imperium to this day. The Sword of Orion was one of 5 Imperial vessels that had participated in Admiral Morndark's destruction of a major band of pirates in the Kinrock Sound, though it was crippled by a trio of Hellbore frigates that also destroyed the Fortitude, a Dictator cruiser. The Scourge of the Faithless was captured by the Red Corsairs champion Hexen the Defiler, who used it as his flagship after it was used to find several Shrine worlds. It was finally ambushed and destroyed by the Crimson Fist strike cruiser Intractable in the Cirrus system. We can thank Inquisitor Anatol Volk of the Ordo Xenos for the plan. I can't help but mention the Invincible as well, which rammed into a crippled Chaos vessel and proceeded to get sucked into the warp during its following boarding action. It was found heavily damaged orbiting Proxidus' outer moon, where the vessel finally met its end. Only 1,250 crew survived the resulting explosion of its plasma drop. Never name your ship Invincible. Now, time for a bit of a fourth wall break. The Gothic cruiser is another one of the foundational vessels of Battlefleet Gothic, and has regularly been the folly and fortune of many players. I have seen arguments over whether or not it's better than the Lunar, and that really depends on your level of experience with the game and how well you rolled in the last game you were in. Everybody who rolled fantastically with their Lunars says the Lunar is better, and everybody who rolled horribly with the Lunar says the Gothic is better. Now, this is all about, again, personal experience. I personally find the Gothic is no better and no worse than the Lunar. I find it to be a fantastic support vessel for the rest of my ships, and I tend to run them as agents of chaos in my Imperial Navy detachments. But what is your story? Tell me about your Gothics. Write down in the comments below about how either spectacular or catastrophically stupid your tactical decisions have been with your Gothic cruisers. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all again in the next lore video.